I'm really glad that we had University of California President Janet Napolitano come to South Los Angeles to talk with small business leaders and talk about the University of California as an enterprise for the public good. We talked about inclusion, we talked about diversity, we talked about the unique opportunities that are before us and making sure that we have a UC that is inclusive, that is engaged in community affairs and outreach, that is of public service to the people of California and helps renew California's golden promise. You've heard me speak of it many times before. The golden promise is California's version of the American dream, that you can grow up in a safe neighborhood, go to good quality public local schools, and have an opportunity at advanced education and employment regardless of what zip code or family circumstance into which you were born. It's like the American dream, but it's more than that. It's the purchasing power to pay and earn all kinds of unique benefits and services and goods in the community in which you live. It's a great thing to have access to these services, to be able to walk in somewhere without fear of discrimination or reprisal, and we know that's an ever-continuing fight, but it's much more accessible than it once was, in no small part because of the organizations that are represented here and many of the individuals here. But it's a whole nother thing to be able to afford the goods and services to which we are now able to access because of the civil rights movement, because of the sweat, blood, and tears of those who came before us. The Legislative Black Caucus made it its priority to focus on education and enterprise. And the University of California is positioned similarly to the CSU and CCC systems to talk about both. How do we get the minds of the future ready now, and how do we make sure that they have opportunities in the private sector and in public-private partnerships to work with the institution? So we talked about the small business spin. We talked about the procurement opportunities that exist across the University of California. We also talked about efficiencies in the delivery of goods and services that the University of California focuses directly on. So we're glad that we had two procurement specialists, one from the University of the President's Office and one from the University of California of Los Angeles, which is in the 54th Assembly District, to talk about how we make sure all communities have a seat at the table. And we started in South LA, but we're going to take this on the road. We're going to make sure that all business people, small, medium, and large businesses, know how to do business with the University of California, are incentivized to spend local, and to make sure that they're reinvesting in the workforce that we produce out of the university.
What's unique about the University of California? I can tell you, I was the governor of a neighboring state. I lusted after the UC. I wanted a UC campus in my state because it is what is called a research university, meaning that the faculty here are involved in the creation of knowledge as well as educating knowledge, the transmission of knowledge. And our students work with them. They work with them in laboratories, in design studios, in internships, you name it. Graduate student population. We educate over half the doctors in California. We educate many of the attorneys in California. We educate every PhD that comes out of the university system, CSU, UC, whatever, will come out of the University of California.
The reinvestment is so critical because the people of California built the University of California system. It was our blood, sweat, tears, and tax dollars that made this possible. So to get the return on the investment of our parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents' investment is much the priority of this administration, that is my administration, and many of my colleagues in the legislature. And if it's going to exist in the future and beyond, we're going to have to make sure that we continue to keep it viable, to keep it well managed. And I think with the UC President's leadership, we're moving in that direction. We have a well-managed system. We're meeting our financial obligations. We're holding the fiscal line so that we're responsible, and we're making sure that we can invest in long-term strategies. So long-term investment is a part of reinvestment because it's really recycling. Because every dollar that we spend locally, every dollar that we spend with a business that is a qualified business, is a high-producing business that we may have not worked with before, will go directly back into the California economy. And when you spend in South LA, you get a multiplier like no other.